Sweet Home Alabama, play it! You guys shred! 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 You guys shred!
Welcome to You Guys Shred. When your band does a Finnish accent to get free drinks, you kickflip a flaming skateboard and then immediately piss on the van, and when a jam session changes your entire life. I'm your host, Keaton Stewart.
I'm your co-host, Tyler Christensen.
If you guys like the podcast and want to support us, it really helps out if you subscribe, share, and review. You can find our own musical project, Poet Bones, on all your preferred streaming platforms, as well as our merch at poetbones.com. Today's guests are two white American males, handsome boys, if you would. Please enjoy Ben and Blue from Extortionist. Thanks so much for coming on here, guys. We normally like to start with how we know the guests, but we pretty much covered how you and I got to know each other on your podcast, The Band Buds. So if you haven't checked that out, check that out. And with you, Ben, this is kind of our first time meeting. So maybe we just start with, I guess, the inception of Extortionist, really. You started when you were a teenager, right?
Yeah.
Up in the old North Idaho.
Yeah, the band kind of started as an accident. It was me and my next door neighbor, who was my best friend at the time, who played drums. And
you were like 13 or 14, right?
Somewhere in there. I don't
teenage years, yeah.
Very early teenage years, you know. I'd played in bands before, but then me and my neighbor, who was...
Okay, so I was wondering if it was your first band, if you were a teenager.
No,
yeah.
I mean, I started playing music and touring when I was like very young, so it was it's just all it's all I really know.
It's a blur.
So, but the band, we just kind of started in a shed one day, just jamming, and then like other friends and other local bands in the Spokane area were just like, "Hey, what are you guys doing today?" And we're just like, "Hey, we're just like jamming some heavy stuff. Like, you want to come over?" And then like it just so happened to be like each person that came and hung out all played like a different instrument. Like we just wrote a song, and then that same day, have you guys ever heard of the band The Ongoing Concept?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I played with those guys.
Yeah, so they're from like Rathdrum, which is like 10 minutes from Spirit Lake, which is where I'm from in Idaho. But Dawson, he's the guitar player and other singer of that band. He records music for bands as well. And I just hit him up and was like, "Hey, you should let us come record this like song we wrote," and like, you know, tossed him some money.
But you didn't know him beforehand?
No, I did know Dawson.
Okay.
No, yeah.
And had you been playing heavy music before this group?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so it already had been.
Yeah, but that song, it was like a few hours of jamming, and we were just like, let's just go to Dawson.
Just click that quick.
Record it. Like, no intention to like release
it's
it.
It's crazy
was just
that
like,
he had availability that day. Like, come on over.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a whole lot going on.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's like, there's no potatoes. Let's go.
Yeah.
No spud harvest.
For real. But recorded it, and then just like I was reading a news article, and I saw the name of like the word extortionist in it, and was
sounds like a mixture of like Metallica, like Pearl Jam,
like,
all these.
Yeah,
he's like, so
that sounds tough. Like,
that sounds tough.
And then we dropped it, and then it was
that
everything
easy.
just kind of picked up from there, and we signed a deal shortly after that, and hit the road, and just kind of the rest is history now. 10 years later.
Everybody listening to this right now that's in a band is like, fuck him, because of how hard they have to like struggle. You just do one day of things, it just clicks and goes for it.
Yeah, I mean, there's like no opportunity out there though. You know, I mean, Spirit Lake only has like 1,200, 1,500 people in it. It's a tiny town in the woods. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it was, even in hindsight, I'm like, I don't know how, like, I can't even remember how I even got like landed us tours like back then, because we didn't get like picked up by management and a booking agent and all that stuff until like way later on. So it is blurry, because I'm like, I don't even know how I got out of Spirit Lake, really. Minus Spokane.
It sounds like it definitely means that it was meant to be. Like, it wouldn't have clicked that easy and came together. Like, I feel like most bands and things like that, you kind of hear of those bands where it just out of nowhere just comes that, like, what if I mean, there's so many parts to that. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like, what if the one dude that came over also played drums, so you had two drummers, or
Yeah,
like something
yeah.
else where it didn't end up clicking. And you're like, okay, this is frustrating. What if the different people showed up that came?
Yeah.
And then it just would have never clicked.
Yeah,
Your life would have been
It
different.
would have just been a jam session.
All
You know
of
what
that
I mean?
one day, your life changed.
Yeah, we had no intention, like really, like it was just come over. Let's
And maybe that's
and
why it works so
play some-
well.
come over,
Yeah,
play some
just
breakdowns
easy.
in this tiny shed. And, you know, like,
Well, on the other side, it's kind of on the other side of the coin from what Keaton was saying, like people being jealous of it. It's almost like, well, if those are the circumstances and something still comes out of it, then there's really no barriers to getting into it. It's just kind of like right place, right time sometimes.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Honestly, and that's true, I think.
yeah.
But going from that and just years of touring, you guys ended up taking a break recently, right? And then just coming back now.
Yeah.
And sorry to just kind of jump forward. I just want to go into how did you guys end up coming? Because obviously you're not an original member, Blue. No. So how did this? And you're from North Idaho. So how did this end up coming together where you ended up being in the band?
Well, we had hung out a couple of times. Like we'd known of each other, but like
Like
nothing
mutual friends or something?
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
who slid into whose DMs then?
It was our friend Jesse McGivney,
Oh, okay.
where like he said something about being in Salt Lake, and so Jesse was like, "Oh, dude, local stuff Extortionist is here. I'm gonna see if he wants to come hang out."
Oh no,
You
way.
know?
So
And
it's the same way you got Ongoing Concept.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
same deal. And like
Circle of life.
Exactly. And like it's funny because we still retell the story all the time where it's like Ben showed up and I'm working and Jesse's like nervous to be around Ben, so Ben just kind of sits on my couch and is like, "It's a cool studio." I'm like, "Thanks, man." You know? And that was pretty much it, you know. And then like we've seen each other around, you know, whatever, but then randomly it was like super chaotic actually because like my interface was like getting repaired, and then Ben hit me up because Adam from Oceana was like trying to like get together and write some stuff,
Right.
and then he hit me up and was like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And I was like, of course." So I end up hitting up Flip, which, you know,
Oh, no way.
I'm sure we've talked about Flip
Yeah,
on the
we
podcast
have,
before.
yeah.
Yeah. So I hit up Flip. He has the same interface as me, and so I was like, "Dude, can I come over and borrow like all of your shit?" You know, and like
Not just one thing. but
Exactly.
all
Like
of
I've done a couple favors for him, so like, and Flip's like the nicest dude on the
Yeah.
planet. So he was like, "Yeah." So he literally unplugs everything. I show up, take all of that shit, run back to the studio. We end up writing a song with Adam, and then like it was like 2-3 days later.
Oh my God!
Where-
There's just so many coincidences.
Yeah,
in this
like,
story,
I know,
where
it
it's like,
really
what
is.
if you didn't have Flip?
Yeah.
Right.
And then you're like, okay, never mind. I'll go to somebody else.
Exactly. Yeah.
Holy
Like couldn't
shit.
pull it off. And then like it was like 2 or 3 days later where Ben and Adam are there. We're like cleaning up like the last little bits of like the song that they did, like doing vocals, whatever. And him and Adam are talking about like the vision for the project. And I'm sitting there like doing my thing, like,
Over here again. Cool.
you know, and I'm like leaning back like, "That's really cool. It's a cool idea." I was like, "Damn, you guys are going to be like my favorite band. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool." And then like I heard it happen, right? Where it just kind of gets quiet in the room. And then like Adam was like signaling to like, what's he doing? And
Oh
then,
no, that was I was doing the hand signals. So you
Ah.
turned away. And
Yeah.
I put my hand up and looked at Adam because we weren't even originally supposed to start like a project when we first initially hit him up. It was just supposed to be some like jam session for content, and like there's people from other bands that were all going to come in, and we are just going to do this like live stream thing or something. But then yeah, we ended up just kind of writing more and doing stuff, and then fast forward to that, I was like looking at Adam, I was like,
yeah.
what about this guy?
Yeah.
Like, silently, you know, and,
Yeah.
he was like, and I was like, "Hey, Blue, what are you doing?" And then,
And I just turn around on my chair and I'm like, "Funny you ask," you know? And so like we start writing stuff, doing our thing. And like Adam wasn't really busy with Oceano at the time. Like they were kind of in their like weird little hiatus. And after a while, like Adam started getting busy with Oceano again. They were putting out their new record. And so we weren't getting that much done, you know? And it's like, okay, well, this is kind of in purgatory. I like went to my buddy Hiram's in LA, and we were talking about starting a project. And then one of the days I ended up coming back and talking to Ben and being like, man, like, I just want to do shit with you, dude. Like, we have chemistry, like, whatever. And he was like, I know, man. Like, even if like the Adam thing doesn't work out, like, we should still start something. And it's funny because like 2 weeks before that, I was talking to my girlfriend, like, I really wish he would just ask me to join Extortionist. And then he goes, man, I just wish you could join Extortionist. And I was like, why can't I? You know? And so he's like, you're right. And he goes, starts calling everybody. And then like our bass player Kip like ends up calling me 2 days later, like to talk to me about it. And he's like, why do you want to join my band, bro? You know? And like gives me like the dad who's trying to date his daughter kind of talk, you know? And like ended up going good. And like literally like it was just like that, did the thing. And then like a month later, like they had the Rings of Saturn tour and they're like, you want to come? And I was like, yes. And ever since it's just been.
Yeah. It's kind of funny from the outsider perspective because we were recording our new record while all of this was going on. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And I guess if you didn't know, I'm also in the new Oceano music video.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the creepy white
Are you
zombie
the
kid.
guy? Oh,
that's
yeah.
me.
Oh, okay. I do recognize you. That's fun.
no zombie makeup.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting how things like just play out and how that ends up always being connected.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't. I mean, honestly, though, like none of it. The only reason I even like came to Utah is because I started dating my girlfriend. So she's what brought me here.
Isn't that why Adam got here too?
I think, and
it's
aren't girls what usually break up bands?
Anybody that's famous comes here because the girls, Mormon girls, man.
Yeah, but
Get you.
I hated Utah for the longest time just because of like
just every time you
my
come
experiences on tour. I just hated the place, you know. But once I got here, it was like my life's gotten a lot cooler since. And then linked up with him, and everything's just been great.
Small Lake City.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Adam said that to me before.
Yeah.
Small Lake City. Yeah, everyone's connected.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, so you've just gone from kind of, you said Spirit Lake?
Yeah, I lived in Spirit Lake,
from
Idaho.
Spirit Lake to just a bigger lake. To a
much.
saltier lake, sir.
Yep.
To a holy lake.
To a whole, cut that. That sucked. So I guess the emphasis of this podcast really is something that you're no stranger to, which is funny tour stories, bad shows. So I guess if we can kind of go into what you would call shenanigans. You guys stopped playing that a while back, right?
No.
Oh,
You still play Shenanigans?
I play Shenanigans.
Okay.
I'm the only one
The interview
left.
I saw, you're like, we don't play it anymore.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I still play. The rest of
Off
the
the
guys,
record, we're on.
Yeah. The rest of the guys won't play it with me, but I'm still about the tour games.
For anybody that doesn't know, can you kind of explain Shenanigans for them?
So Shenanigans is if somebody in the room says like, you know, because most of the time people are like, they say they're going to do something, but they're never actually going to do it.
Even like absurd things.
Yeah, like some,
fuck my
exactly.
ass.
Yeah, like I'm gonna, I mean,
you have 24 hours, sir.
I mean,
I'll try anything twice, bro.
I mean, technically, if somebody did say like, I guess I'll just go fuck myself, you could call Shenanigans, and they have 24 hours.
But it's only on tour
to do it. But anyways, the purpose of the game is so if somebody says they're going to do something, even if it's some off the wall, just like
doesn't matter
stupid
what
fucking
it is.
comment that comes out of their mouth, like, and someone's like Shenanigans, like they have 24 hours to do this said thing. I mean, if it's humanly possible, but, you know, but
you call it anyways. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. But they have 24 hours to do it, and if they don't, they have to pull their pants down. I know that sounds weird. And
but hear me out. Hear me out.
Take the
second step,
like the meanest slap on the bare ass in front of like the public or an audience, and yeah, it's just humiliating.
Just one?
Yeah, yep. Just one good 5-star,
one good
right? You know what I mean?
And you had this on video, right? There's like public shaming, like Facebook or I guess Instagram. I guess you guys said you did like Instagram stories or like one of the live things where it goes away. I don't know.
some of the band members, I will not say who, have
Yeah, that's
definitely
fine. It's
have
okay.
definitely done some pretty wild stuff on live on the internet on their own personal accounts.
You're like, guys, it's 2023. We can't do that anymore.
Yeah, no. I have witnessed it from my phone happening and had to call them in the midst and be like, "What are you doing?" nothing like that.
Yeah, but it's still
nothing that detrimental,
Right.
you know. But like enough to be like, "Hey, you probably shouldn't do that," you know. Like it's not a good look.
Can you think of some of the crazier things that people that followed through with?
I think one was on the record of like somebody in a different band pissing on the van or something.
Oh, dude,
okay,
that's,
okay, so-
that's something.
Okay,
It's deeper than that,
so
my guy.
people, I have yet to see the, like, I know what stories people talk about, but people bring up these videos, but I still haven't even seen what's out there. I try not to. I try not to deep dive it, but I think you're talking about. So when we
Allegedly.
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, it was Angel Maker's first U.S. tour, and we were on the tour with them. And have you ever seen like King of the Road, like the skateboard, like Thrasher magazine? I don't know too much about it, but it's like basically they give you these like crazy challenges you have to do, and you get points, and you have to document these things.
Oh,
right?
so it's old school like skateboard
Kind of.
video?
It stems off of
Kind of like
that.
a Vila Bam kind
but-
of thing or whatever.
Yeah,
his
like the
stuff.
Narkill
Yeah,
episode.
it's definitely some like jackass type shit or something.
Yeah,
you
it
know what I
sounds
mean?
like it.
Yeah, Angel Maker made these books called Band of the Bill, and there's all these challenges, and they go from
It looked
like
nice too.
It
Like,
was-
they put thought.
I
into it.
still have it.
Went to
like,
Kinko's and did the whole
like,
thing.
it's
Yeah.
it is legit.
Was it spiral bound or like
Yeah,
glued? Or?
spiral bound.
It was actually and it
yeah,
had
like
it was,
laminated
yeah.
pages, like you know.
Like they weren't fucking around.
No. Yeah, the challenges went from like mild to like
Crazy.
completely like holy shit, you know what I mean? And yeah, at the time we were much younger, and we were a very crazy young bunch back, especially
Yeah,
at that
of course.
period of the band. And
Well, I mean, especially I guess you kind of put to like draw it back, putting anyone else in your shoes. Like you're living your dream.
Yeah.
You're young age. You're doing what you've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And honestly, it'd be sad if you didn't.
Yeah.
Like live it to the full, man. Life is short. Why wouldn't you?
well, and the thing is too is like I come from a small town, you know.
yeah,
like,
we drop trout.
You know, like my town is a mile long at most where I'm from. Like I never, especially in the younger years, is like I never like seeing Las Vegas for the first time.
Yeah,
like,
it's like-
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
getting all of that stuff going from a borderline like ghost town
Yeah, of course.
to like seeing the world at such a young age, and like I guess being exposed to
For doing what you
that
love.
lifestyle. Yeah, like it was it
Hard
was
to wrap your head around.
it was very exciting.
Yeah, of
And I
course,
was
yeah.
going to, I just, you know,
Yeah, live it to
faced
the
it
full, man.
head on. I was going to do the craziest shit I could and be the, you know, like whatever. But yeah, that, there were some very gnarly challenges. Circling back to the video that you were mentioning, or the thing you were talking about, there was a night in Denver, Colorado, and we're in the back behind the venues. And it was like, okay, let's see how many challenges can we knock out like in one go. And the thing is like in order to get the points, you had to document and like show proof of like
Give the points.
You know-
Like, what does it add up to winning?
I forget. Like,
Bragging rights.
Bragging
yeah,
rights.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
just bragging rights.
there was a reward at the end of the tour, but I don't remember what it was. It might have just been like a 30 rack or something. I don't know.
Case of Trulies.
I don't know.
Victory
I-
beer.
I
One
don't-
victory beer.
I don't remember what if there was one, but yeah, the video was like one of the challenges was like kickflip a flaming skateboard. All right, so it starts, you know, with one of the previous members of the band like rolling through, you know, flipping a flaming skateboard and then jumping on one of the other band's vans and just pissing all over the windshield and there's people inside. And then the camera pans over and then there's two dudes in one of the bands making out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then it pans over again, and somebody's drinking pee. And
Someone's licking the pee off the band.
and
That might take the cake.
it was madness.
And how many points did that add up to? Do you don't remember? Damn it.
Could not tell you. It's
Was
been
it like a combo?
500
Doing
bob.
Multiple.
it was that was the point where it's
Yeah, like Tony Hawk, like multiplier.
I want to know what was 100 points. What is this scale? I need to know. Is it 1 to 100? Is it 100 to 1,000?
I still have the book. It's in my storage. I wish I had it. I
You
wish
know
I could
how
have just
people have like
bring
the
it.
vintage books and stuff like on display in glass? Like have that in your house where you walk in, people are like, what the fuck is that? It's like lit up like.
There's a lot of memories attached to that book, so yeah, I definitely kept
You
it.
would? Yeah, do it.
Shout out to Angel Maker.
Hell yeah. So I've been fortunate enough to hear some of the new tunes you guys are kind of working on. And when Blue was kind of showing me the kind of new direction you're going, I was very excited. I think the whole vibe is just it just seems right. I know you said you were kind of, you had some reservations about maybe it's a little bit of a change, but listening to the catalog, I feel like there's other songs that like this seems like this was the natural progression anyways. Like this was
Yeah.
gonna happen anyways. So like I feel like it's super exciting, and I'm really stoked for you guys where it's
Yeah.
headed. It sounds great. I know you guys aren't finished with it yet. Do you have maybe an idea when you want to put it out?
Sooner than later. Like because that's what sucks too. Is like me and Ben, like that was the whole thing with me joining. Is it was like there's so much chemistry. Like it was one of the first times where everything I would be like, I want to do this. Ben's like, dude, me too. You know. And Ben's like, hey, I want to do this, and I'm like, dude, yeah, literally. Did we just become best friends? Like
John Stamos.
and so
Good
like
housekeeping.
it just feels like, because dude, it's like we have like 3 records worth of material, and the whole thing is like we keep writing stuff and being like, oh, this is so good, and then we write more stuff and we're like, this is even closer to what's like in our heads. You know what I mean? Because it's like that's sort of the challenge, right? Like I feel like every artist has that like vision that's in their heads, but it's so hard to pull it off, especially when you're trying to do something different,
Right.
because you don't have a rule book. Like you can't go and compare to some band and be like, all right, you know, yeah, it sounds like Architects, cool, you know, whatever, like sounds like Northlane. Like there's it's you're figuring it out as you go, and it's all trial and error. But it's like it just feels like all of the later stuff that we've been writing is so much closer to what we're trying to pull off that we just get more and more stoked about it. You know what I mean?
I do. So, do you guys I've kind of wondered this because you're right in the thick of the process at the moment. Do you feel like something I'll do before tracks are released, I'll sit there and analyze it and almost overanalyze it,
Yeah.
and then you sit there and pick it at
so
it.
bad at
Do you
that.
guys do that? Do you find yourself doing that with these tracks?
Oh my God.
Dude, like yeah.
Last night even.
Hi, I'm so
Oh man. Okay. Like so ever since we got back together, it's been a slow rebuilding process. Like, you know, and we're all scattered across the country. you
Right.
know, So that's another huge factor. But it's taken us like a lot of time to really get things moving and to kind of like really come back full force, because there's just been so many plans and like
we just want it to
things,
be right.
things
Right,
are-
you don't want to jump the
Yeah,
gun.
No,
and
and
we're-
then
You
and
don't
then
wanna
we get
force it
like
either.
we get new offers and new this and new that, to where we're constantly pivoting to like, okay, that works better for us. Like, because it's even like getting like potential label offers and things like that, where we're like, that's cool, but because we're self-produced, it's like, well, we don't need an album budget, and if we don't get an album budget, we don't think you should get 85% of our
Exactly.
distro, you know. And so it's just this kind of weird, like slowly but surely, like more and more offers come in that are like, that's cool, that's kind of what we're looking for, and then something else happens where we're like, that's even better than what we're, you know, like,
or if an exciting tour, or
That too.
or like something that, you know, makes us have to do more footwork that kind of takes away from the actual
the
like,
record.
Right.
the
Right.
music aspect. Like it's just been a lot of shifting, but like luckily, because we're independent right now and the ball's like in our court,
Right.
and like
You're your own
we're
bosses.
we're able to take however much time we need. I mean, I'm getting antsy personally. Like, I just want this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been like a year and a half since we've released anything, so like I'm just ready to get the stuff that we've written now forever ago out and just start,
Going.
just
Right,
go,
just-
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like, but it's just been
But I guess another way of looking at it, it could be that since you guys are doing so much work and getting to something and not trying to force it, I was going to say as well when you were showing me the tracks to kind of digress, I'll digress in a second, but I mean, if you started this band when you're like a teenager and you are what you're now, it's only natural that you're going to mature. And your
Yeah.
tastes are gonna-
Yeah.
I was telling Blue a while back that it was like, I mean, not everyone is the same way, but when a band just makes their same album over and over again till they're blue in the face,
oh yeah.
you lose more people, I would
Yeah.
think, than you would when you're going to new places. And people don't know what they want. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
No.
You gotta take them, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's like making something for the audience is
Yeah.
never gonna work out well. And the fact you're taking the time, you're really making sure it's. I
Yeah.
feel like it's really from what I've heard, it's gonna it shows.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be amazing.
No, thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
I
one of
think
the
so.
only people that's heard anything.
I thought you were gonna say you're the only person that thinks so. Like,
No,
that's not
no.
true.
No, you're one of the very few.
Because you guys are putting in the work, not only is it going to be awesome, but you're going to have more songs than you need.
Yeah.
So that means the cream of the crop is going to come to the top. And then while you're busy doing other things, if you're like, hey, we do need one extra song, you already have.
Yeah.
You've already
Yeah.
done all the work.
Folders.
Yeah.
Folders
Yeah.
and
Folders
folders.
and folders. Like Chris Stapleton, for instance, that dude's been doing his whole back catalog. He was like a writer or whatever. And all of his albums, he's just been going back from when he was in his early 20s and just cutting all the songs he had
Yeah.
already written.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe since you're doing that work while you guys are out on the road, or if you need other things, it's already done.
Yeah.
the
Exactly.
work's
I
already
mean,
done.
dude, that's because
It's never bad to have
No.
more work than
Yeah.
less, right?
Exactly. I literally tell the bands that I produce to do that exact same thing. Like, get 5, at least 5 in the canon. So that way, if you do get tours or like, even if it's like financial stuff, like you still have things ready to release. And then it's like log roll, you know what I mean? Where like it moves forward, the one log comes out the back, you take it, you move it to the front, right? Like as soon as one comes out, you start working on the next one.
Yeah.
And if you need a little bit of time, you have your little savings account of songs.
Yeah.
You know?
And it sounds like, I mean, I would imagine it gives you some leverage when you're talking to labels and stuff. Like we have albums.
Here's a whole
ready.
record.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
Yeah.
to back to what you were saying, which still makes me laugh to these days. That there's even still 360 deals. Like not everybody is aware of that already, but like 80. What did you say the split? 80, 20,
85%. But
80?
I mean, dude,
Oh
that's
my God.
not even on a
The- the
360
whole
deal.
record's done.
Not
Yeah.
even on a 360 deal. That's like industry standard for your splits is like 85, 86%. It's wild.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Wild.
I mean, that's why a lot of our friends' bands are. I mean, I can just think of so many right now. They're like, no, we're just gonna do it ourselves.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
We've gone through the shit. We can
Yeah.
just do it ourselves. Like, isn't the Grin Boys, Our Last Night, all those
Yeah.
dudes?
Yeah.
So
DIY.
unless it makes sense, why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like we're a very self-sufficient band now. Like I do all like the graphic design and the visual stuff and like playing out the rollouts.
Yeah,
and, like,
it's so punk rock.
you know what I mean?
DIY,
and like
man.
do that now. We have him, so he can do the the
Right.
music stuff. So it's like only thing we're missing is a videographer in the
Yeah.
band, But other than that, it's like I don't know. And I like where all of our heads are at, and like we think our band as a whole thinks pretty unconventionally, like for the most part. But
Which
like,
you kind of have to be if you're
but
gonna label yourself as an artist.
Anytime,
you have to.
anytime something pops up and it's like we start leaning in that, like, oh, are we gonna do this or whatever? Like, I start to dislike the thing more. Like, if what I'm saying makes sense, like, I don't know. Like,
no, I get you're like too
it-
close to the canvas or something. You're
I
like,
li-
I don't want to do. Let's go this other way.
Yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is I like being independent, and I like what the vision that we have. Like, I want to execute that, even if that does mean like
Right.
taking longer or whatever.
Exactly.
'cause-
I mean, to kind of equate it to like the movie business, right?
Yeah.
Someone has their script at first, it's their idea, it's just
Yeah.
them. But then once it gets sold to a studio, everybody starts, they rewrite, everyone's
pick it
hands trying to get
apart.
into it.
Yeah.
It's no longer what it started
yeah,
as.
I
Whether
tend-
that's good or bad, but
Yeah.
I feel like just like a guitar to an amp, the best signal you're gonna get is just one
the
cable.
less shit,
Yeah.
the
Less
less
shit
shit,
in the way,
the better.
the better.
Exactly.
If
Less
you're-
middlemen.
Like, yeah, everyone has talked about that throughout
Yeah.
the years of like, if you could just go direct to your fan base.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's-
Plus, it's like it takes longer to build, obviously.
Yeah.
But
True.
dude, think about how bad of a deal that is. like at least in the current state of things, like because back in the 90s and stuff when like physical still sold and there was like actual money in the industry, okay, like whatever, you can sign a deal, take your measly 15% on the back end and still do pretty well, plus you get your merch sales, you get all these other things that, you know, make money. But who would sign up for a credit card where they're like, hey, we're going to garnish all of your, like 85% of your wages until it's paid back? Like, what a terrible deal. What a terrible deal. And so if instead, because we can do everything ourselves and we don't need the budgets, then once we start putting stuff out and then the money starts coming in, now we have our own budget. You know what I mean? Like we can take all of the money from distro, all the money from merch sales and be like, cool, we want to go to this crazy studio, or like even if like we wanted to go get produced with someone else, which I'm not opposed to, you know, then we have that money and it's our money.
It's your money. No
You know
one
what I
else is
mean?
touching it.
Right. It's like if you think about like even just in everyday life, if you have a savings account, that's you got $5,000 in your savings account, you basically have a $5,000 credit card with no interest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like that's essentially the benefit, is that you're not relying on other people, and then those people can't tell you what to do and all of that shit. Like it's not like it's terrible for everybody, but especially for what we're
situation's
trying to do,
different,
it's
but-
kind of
Yeah, it's it's all situational because there's a lot of great labels out there and there's a lot of great deals out there. You know, even for bands in our genre. You know?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I guess-
and it's not like we would never, like we're not anti-label, like we would never sign with anybody. It would just have to be the right deal.
Yeah.
you
Right.
know?
Well,
It's all business
what
at the
makes
end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, kind of pivoting from the business to the fun stuff, going to like creative, kind of the creative aspect of it. How would you say working with Ben now is been different, or in vice versa as well? Because you've been doing this for so long, certain ways. How is it working with Blue?
I think
How's it different? I guess you could say.
I'm gonna let him answer first. I'm curious to
What's
see what
cool
he says.
what's cool about Ben, like this literally happened yesterday, right? We did we're releasing a song here soon that we did with Aaron Gillespie from Under Oath, and I was like, we had a version of it. Everyone was happy with the mix, but I was still like, you know, it's not perfect.
Going back to the picking thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. And so I'm sitting there nitpicking away. And Ben, he doesn't know the terms, like the audio terms of
I don't
like,
know the lingo.
exactly, like he
either.
can't sit there and tell me like
I don't know what 5K means.
exactly, like yeah, you can be like, there's too much 400
I
hertz
thought
in my
HT
voice.
stood for Hillary Duff.
So like that's what's cool about Ben is like all vibe, which is very good for me because like I can do the vibe thing, but I default to the nerd thing, right? I default to the rule book of this is how I'm supposed to mix. These are the settings I'm supposed to use. These are the EQs, the compressors, the whatever, like the traditional stuff. But even yesterday when we're doing the thing and Ben's like, it's not making my ears tickle, you know? And I was like, dude, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Oddly, I know
It's
exactly
honestly
what you mean.
things like that, like an emotion, like conveying, because obviously our communication
Exactly.
level is so small. It's so hard to like convey an idea to you through words, and you're like, that sounds like shit.
Yeah.
But then I show you, and you're like, no, actually, that's cool.
Yeah.
So it's weird how that.
Right.
Yeah. So
Dude, and
it's-
that's the thing with mixing too, is like it's so like people think of it as a technical thing a lot of the time. It's like the nerd
Science
part, right?
behind
But at the end of the day, the reason why you're mixing a song is to enhance the emotion of the song in the first place. Where some bands should have these crazy, perfect, slammy, borderline plastic sounding mixes because that's what's
That's their sound.
required.
Yeah.
And others should be a little bit more raw. And it's nice having someone who is so in touch with the vibe to be like, you went nerd mode. Like, take that back. Don't go nerd mode on that.
Yeah.
Like,
you need. It's always. I feel like for any project, the artist will always get too close to the canvas. I guess is what it feels like. So you're having somebody kind of back forth, and then also with any. I feel like any kind of producer or any kind of relationship, having somebody that's like analytical over your shoulder, giving you the terms instead of like, hey, this isn't invoking the emotion I want it to.
Right.
You're gonna get. It's like that other side would probably start a fight.
Yeah.
Versus how you
Yeah.
communicate, like something's off.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's at least on my end, to answer your question, like how it is working with Blue. Like, well, we've never had like a producer in the band before, so that is awesome in like itself, you know. But like, one huge reason as to why I wanted Blue to join the band was it, and the thought even became a thing, was like I was originally tracking vocals for some of this material that we have, and just like actually working with him and like explaining my ideas to him, like even though it's just like pre-pro demo stage stuff or whatever, like I was like, this is how I hear it in my head, like even if it's like effects, whatever, like just like I meant just little tiny comments of like mentioning things that I like and noticing that like, oh, okay, like he likes a lot of the same stuff that I do. So it's like over time, after we had tracked like 9 or 10 songs almost, it was like there was like one session where he knew every, like he just was in my head, and I even remember like in the vocal booth, like I was like, dude, like we're like musical soulmates, like you're just like doing everything I want you to do without me even having to say anything.
Yeah.
So it was like we just click very well, like on the friend level and just like as, you know, fellow musicians together. Like I think we have like very similar.
It's cohesive.
Yeah,
I remember.
Cohesive.
I remember there was one day where I was like doing something, like whatever it was, effects or whatever, and I was like, "Hey, like, let me know if this sucks." And he's like, "No, I already know it's gonna be cool because it's always cool. Just do your thing." You know, and it's like, okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think another aspect of that as well is, I feel like you hear it all the time with, or I feel like I've preached it as well, where it's like a band is kind of like a dysfunctional family in a way.
100%.
So like just grabbing, you know, 5 dudes and throwing them in a van and having them tour, it doesn't always work out. The dynamics, everyone's got to have like all the, like you have to connect on personality. You have to have, another cool thing about Blue is with him being a producer, and since I've worked with him, I can confidently say he listens.
Yeah, he does.
He listens what the artist wants and what they want to go to, and then he's able to just like, he doesn't come in with this weird
It has to be my way.
Yeah.
Dude, that
which I haven't worked with one of those for a while.
Yeah. No, that literally happened. That literally happened yesterday, where like, and I think a lot of people have like this weird PTSD from working with producers that are like that.
Yeah, because it's almost like, oh, could you please?
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
I am one of those people.
Yeah, because all day yesterday, you know, he was like, dude, I'm so sorry if I'm bugging you. I'm so sorry. And it's like, no, like I want it to rip too.
Yeah.
Like you're never going to bug me by giving me notes or getting us closer to the vision, because I want it to be as good as you do.
Yeah, there's this agreement to we're gonna make the best thing possible.
Exactly.
Not saying like this sucks or saying your own opinion or something or whatever isn't gonna get you to being the great thing.
Dude, and limiting outside opinions to me is like one of the worst things that you could do, because it's even like some producers will have the rule of like, don't bring your homies, or like the main one that almost all of them do is like, no girlfriends. Don't bring your fucking girlfriends. That's weird.
Yeah.
But
I think it's
to
just
me,
by each band,
right?
If they're productive, then it's fine.
Exactly.
If they're
Then it
not,
doesn't
they're
really
fucking
matter.
off, then, yeah.
But to me, it's like when you bring the homies or like the girlfriends that don't do music, and they're suggesting things from the back, and
or
you're
they're
like,
saying like this sounds good. You know you're onto something.
exactly.
Yeah.
And if they say that it's not, then it obviously feels wrong. And some people will be like, shut up. Like, what do you know? You know what I mean? You're
Yeah,
the
you want
girlfriend.
everybody to be vibing on it. Or else what's the point? Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's the thing too. Like I throughout, especially since working with Blue, like in just the type of music that I listen to on a daily basis, like kind of touching on like the rules versus the vibe thing. It's like there's a lot. I'm one of those people like I have a lot of friends that are producers, you know, and and each one of them has like, oh, these are the rules. Like, no, you can't do that. But like,
the rules are only there to break them, man.
I like the things that most, like at least a lot of my friends and like the people that I know, like, except for like the band members, but like they would typically say like that sounds like shit, you know, like. But I don't know, like I don't like perfect production personally, you know. and
I
it's,
agree.
you
It
know
takes,
what I mean?
it takes the
Like,
human element away
yeah,
from it.
yeah, like
Because that's not how you're going to play it live.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, and I'm not talking like MIDI bass, MIDI drums, or
Right,
whatever.
you're talking about
Just like
editing it so it's like, actually doing,
the sound,
Yeah.
like the sound as a whole, like, you know, like I think,
organic.
yeah, like I don't know, like
Needs to tickle the ears.
it's like,
isn't
yeah,
it?
that too, but it's like the people talking shit on like
Oh,
Loathe
yeah.
and Thornhill and like
I think that's the
like their vocal mix thing, but like
Yeah.
the vibes of like their music, you know, like those are just a couple examples, but like
Right.
I love everything that they
It's
did.
about the emotion.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like I don't know, like and there's been times with I've worked with a shit ton of different people where it's like I want it to sound a certain way, but they're like, you know, it's against the rules. But like it's with Blue, it's nice being like he'll sit there and listen to me just make
Right.
no sense while I'm trying to describe like the sound that I hear in my head, and he'll follow along and then do it. But we also like meet in the middle because I'm not always right either. Like
Yeah.
sometimes my idea does sound like shit, you
But
know?
like,
but it's cool
once
that
again,
we can
coming back
actually
to
do
that
it together.
idea, you have to try it.
Yeah.
Like if you don't try it, how do you know?
Yeah,
Dude, that's a huge
Yeah.
thing for me. That's
Yeah,
a huge
for
thing for me.
anybody.
Yeah.
I can't stand when
About the fucking open the can of worms.
yeah, dude. Like, but that bugs me. Like, there's just a lot of like producer habits that
It's so
I don't like. Where
it's
when
so weird, man. Can
Right.
you imagine going up to an artist and be like, "Hey, man, you can only paint with these colors."
Yeah, you
That's
Yeah.
insane.
and I mean to some degree, like you know, having less to work with, like there's some benefit in that,
Right.
But
But it's
to tell
situational.
someone, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like I can't stand when someone says, "Hey, I want to hear this thing," or "Hey, I want to try it this way." And they're like, "That's dumb," and then they don't even,
Yeah.
you know. It's like
Yeah.
I heard, who is it? Kramer, something Kramer. He's the guy who did like Led
Seinfeld?
Zeppelin and no. That would be hilarious.
Oh, the guitarist Kramer, yeah.
Yeah, no. There's a producer.
I'm
like
sorry,
Eddie
Kramer, yeah.
Kramer.
He
Yeah.
recorded
And-
Hendrix.
right, and he did Zeppelin too. And someone was
Led Zeppelin
asking
1.
him forever ago. They were like, "Well, what happens if someone makes a stupid suggestion or they want to make a dumb change in a song?" And he says, "I always give the artist just enough rope to hang themselves with." Right? And
Yeah.
I was like, that's great, because either we're going to stumble onto something that's really cool, or at least you hear it and you go, okay, that was stupid. And it's like, yeah, it was. It was. Moving on. You know?
But if it,
Command Z, Command Z,
yeah,
Command Z.
I feel like that's so necessary if you're trying to get somewhere new as well. Do you know the band Dead Poet Society? by
Oh, yeah.
chance?
yeah. I don't know their music, but heard the.
I know
band.
their music, yeah.
So we had them on the podcast not too long ago, and he was saying that that's what they look for is like that's a dumb idea. He's like, we're trying it.
Yeah.
If you think this is stupid, or you're laughing because it's stupid, that
Yeah.
means we're onto something
Yeah,
new.
that's
We
we're,
have
we're
to
very
try
much we're very
that.
much that way too.
Like, because you're not going to get anywhere new.
No.
Just by doing the same old thing.
Yeah.
You're just You're just
How boring.
I mean, it's not that you're exactly copying. Obviously, it's completely. Everything's
Right.
different. But if you really want to make something, that's going to change the world, you got to go to those new places.
Oh, yeah,
And when
exactly.
I was so stoked because obviously I've heard a couple different things, and I've heard the Aaron song, and then recently hearing the other stuff, and it's like hearing the new direction. It's like, wow. Yeah, this is cool. I'm glad that you
That's
guys
cool.
are following it and keep working on it. I mean, obviously, there's going to come to a point you're like, okay, we got to say it's done.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like, I'm
Yeah.
glad you are going to a new spot because it's something I haven't heard before.
Hey,
I think it's awesome.
Thank you. No, that's it's nice hearing that from
Natural
somebody that
progression,
I'm
man.
just meeting. So like, it's not one of my friends gassing me up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
I
like,
know how you feel. Yeah, because it's like,
so-
don't blow smoke up my
Yeah,
ass.
Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't help me.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
Yeah, literally.
And
but-
also, it's like, why would you lie? Like,
That too,
what's the
yeah,
point?
I d- yeah.
We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Who wants yes man opinions? You know, like
No, yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed.
Yeah,
it.
I'm excited to
It's-
hear it all done.
It's nice. It's nice to finally hear like an actual like outside response to what's going on.
So you're welcome. So kind of going back to like the live thing, you just got done touring with Oceano playing bass for them, right?
Yeah. I was with
So
them.
how long have you been doing that for them?
Oh, so right after the Rings of Saturn tour that Extortionist did, I had like a few days off and then flew out to Chicago and met, like met
So just
Scott.
out of nowhere, you had already just like.
No, I mean I knew about it.
So, like I hit up on Gwen's concept.
No, I like Adam was one of the first people I met when I moved to Utah.
Oh, okay.
Like just, I was in the process. Like I literally just got into Utah, and I think it was like my second night, the night that Adam hit me
Wow.
up, and then I blew up. Like because I just knew he was like a producer, and Adam was looking for a place to do this thing at. So
Wow.
that's when we became friends, and like us three had written music together.
Everything for you is just like this, dude.
Oh, my life is very random.
Yeah, just like within days, shit happens and changes your life.
It's very, everything. My life is just nothing is normal. Like it is.
No.
But that's good though, because
No.
it wouldn't be you, or your music wouldn't be what it is if it was.
Yeah. Thank you. But
So you and Adam.
we became friends, and then like us three kind of just stopped jamming. You know, he got busy, whatever. But
Right.
then but because Adam had like seen me in the studio, like playing guitar, playing bass, you know, and whatnot, and we'd hung out quite a bit at that point. He asked me to fill in for the year, and so I knew like I think it was like April or May, so a little bit before the Rings tour. But
it was quick
I was
still.
I was
Yeah.
preparing for the Extortionist tour.
You're like, oh,
you know, and yeah, so it was July until November.
Any fun stories from that? I mean, you guys just went to Europe, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was there's
Because it seemed like we did the music video, and then y'all were just
yeah.
gone.
Lots of fun stories. I mean, they took me to Europe for the first time, so like
Oh, you hadn't been there.
no, that was my first time being
Croissant.
there. Yeah.
Blue used to live over there.
Yeah,
because he's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, all the tours that I did with them are awesome. Very grateful for Adam and Scott and Chris, their actual bass player, for giving me the opportunity. But yeah, I mean, all the tours crushed. There was a lot of fun stories. Europe was crazy to me. Like I'd wake up at like 5 or 6 in the morning every day and just explore whatever city we were in because I didn't want to miss.
I'm
like,
glad that you did that. It's a
anything,
shame
you know?
when people. I mean, obviously, it's hard because you're driving to the venue, get to the venue, sound check, everything. You know, you finally get loaded on. You maybe get some time for food. You play your show, off to
Yeah.
the next one. So it's cool that you actually. I mean, it would have been a shame,
Yeah.
because it's such a.
I made
such
the
an
time,
experience,
even if I slept
yeah.
for 2 hours. Like it was like, oh, I feel the bus parking. Like
I gotta
I'm
explore. I
going-
love that.
Like
yeah.
before the sun would even come up, like I'd get on, dude, Lime scooters over there.
Yep.
Best friend. I was on those constantly, dude.
Dude.
But
So, what was your favorite part? Like discovering which city?
my favorite place we went to, places, Budapest, Hungary, and Glasgow, Scotland.
Oh yeah, Glasgow. I haven't
Yeah,
been to
that's
Glasgow
awesome.
yet, but
Glasgow's
that's
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Glasgow's awesome. Oh, and Lyon, France was a slept on one. Not a lot of people talk about that place, but that place was really cool too. But yeah,
And is it just like, I mean, because I mean, for me, when I go around, I'm just like, there's so much history. Like this is so old. Like this is so cool. And like for all those places over there, it sounds cheesy, but like us growing up, that's where all the fairy tales are based.
No.
Peter Pan, Harry Potter. So
Dude,
it's
yeah,
like
like
for me,
Switzerland.
it's like this is out of this world. It's like
Yeah.
something so new. I mean, we kind of have similar stories being in Idaho. The whole world is like, I couldn't wait to get out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you couldn't even see any mountains. You know,
Yeah.
there's nothing to do. So, and maybe that's another reason why I would maybe music. You were like, I gotta be good at this. I gotta do something. I gotta get the fuck out of here.
yeah.
What was it about those cities that you liked the most?
I mean, as cliche as it sounds, like obviously, like the coolest thing about Europe to me is the architecture and just
Yeah,
like how
yeah.
the cities are. You know, everybody would say that. You know, that's been there at least. But I don't know. Like, the thing that I like about Europe as a whole is like the downtown areas are usually like
Yeah.
walking. They're not streets
Everything's
for like cars.
closed and
It's
there's
like
transit
it's like
and-
like
yeah.
all there's like the roads, but like all the like the main strips are like you can just walk on and like do all the cool, like a lot of the cool stuff there. But
And they're all old.
Yeah,
like, they're
yeah.
like cattle trails. or
literal
like, yeah, they're
cobblestones.
cobblestones. Yeah, it's so cool.
Like I really
Yeah.
liked that, and like my favorite part about like Budapest, well, one, hot wine. If anybody's ever had that,
Hot Kool-Aid.
Dude, no, but
I would argue, sir, that wine is adult Kool-Aid.
but like the palace in Budapest was awesome. That was like the moment on the tour where I was like, damn, like I'm really like I'm really touring Europe like right now. That's fucking cool, man. Like, you know. But yeah, I don't know. The whole vibe of Budapest is awesome. I loved that place, and Glasgow's just super fun. And same thing, cobblestone streets, like
it's just picturesque. It's like it's almost like when you're walking around, you're like, this isn't real.
Even the graveyards are like all the graves are like towers. Like I don't know. It's just everything's
so
just
cool.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's so different.
That's why it's so fascinating.
Yeah,
It is, so
especially
different,
because
but...
I mean, it's like in America, like it's old, like it's hundreds of years old.
Yeah, but it's not thousands.
Thousands. And that's what's crazy is like going to places like London or Paris or whatever, and it's this blend of architecture where like they built shit to last out there. So there are still old houses that are crazy old or like, you know,
and there's people that want to preserve that.
Yeah,
so they
and
stay there.
It's cool that there's this like hybrid in the architecture of like the modern plus it's cool.
It's the cohesive. Everything is just circling, boys.
Speaking of hybrid, when we were in I think it was Brussels, Belgium, there's like this fancy like downtown kind of area or whatever, and there's like H&M's and like vape shops.
Yeah,
and,
they
like,
take over everything.
You know,
and even
Five
Venice,
Guys is over there. Like weird. But
Yep.
it's like there was a spot that like made me laugh because there's this like super old cathedral, right, and it's like from the 1300s. Like this thing is so old or something, but there's like a fried chicken shack inside of it, and then the cathedral or something. Yeah. I was like, what is going on?
It's like
I would be so bad.
There's so many. Every place I've ever been, there's a lot of. It's like because you're like, oh, this isn't how it looks on TV and film because they obviously make the perspective. But like, there's a KFC in Egypt, you can sit inside and then you look out the window and the pyramids right there. Like it's that close. And there's just like Rome, everywhere else I've been, there's like trash everywhere and things like that. It's like that puts perspective on things where it's like you can see how the film and you think one place is, but then when you actually go there and experience it, it's completely different.
Yeah.
I mean, so you guys are going to be on tour here in Europe yourself. What are you looking forward to?
Bro, I'll
go. Okay.
I was just there, so I'm gonna let.
Dude, I'm excited for a lot, but what I'm really excited for, one, is to go back and see friends who still live in England, and especially to have it not be a thing of like, hey, we should hang out. I'm gonna buy a plane ticket and show up and whatever. It's like music brought me here. You know what I mean?
You were just gonna say music.
Yeah.
But music.
Yeah. No. Like
I also thought you were gonna say Amsterdam at first. Like, dude, Amsterdam.
No. But like,
we are going there.
Yes. But that's what I'm stoked for. I'm stoked to do that. I'm even stoked to like, if we have time, hopefully we do, but to like take some of my, like all the guys and be like, these are the cool spots in London.
Yeah.
You know, like this is what I remember, this cool little skate spot, or like, you know, over here's where all the street performers are.
Yeah, it's fun.
Like,
when
you know, like
the area,
exactly, you know, and like to go re-see all the old things that I've seen like at a different point in my life.
Yeah, different perspective.
Exactly, you know, like that to me is cool. Plus, I mean, there's plenty of places like when I lived in Europe, I saw the major areas, you know, Germany and
right, but you're kind of growing up, so it's like more of a different. Yeah,
but dude,
like,
I never went to any of the Scandinavian countries. I'm really excited for all of that stuff, and you know, like there's especially the food.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's
like,
half of it.
Yeah.
So many cheeseburgers in Europe,
dude, and a lot of European food fucking sucks.
I was gonna say the best food I've had is obviously not American food. It's like Indian food and Turkish food, things that you're like, we don't get over here. It's not normal.
Yeah,
right.
Try that because that's gonna be bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, dude, I had pizza in Italy, and I was so disappointed. I'm sorry. It fucking sucks, man.
It's because that's an American.
Yeah,
that's an American. It's an American.
Yeah,
pizza is an American thing.
As Americans do, we took your thing and just made it better.
America has the most elite wait staff. That's why you don't tip over in Europe.
That's what I'm most
They
excited
have
for.
inferior
No
waitress.
Dude,
waiters
it's
and
true though,
waitresses.
dude. But that's the
I'm
thing
just
too. Is
joking.
like the
Yeah,
way
no, it's okay.
no, like the way that I live my life. I mean, we're fucking artists, dude. Like I'm
Right.
not like I'm like to some degree a go getter, but also like I take 3 hours to get out of bed. Once I'm out of bed, we're fucking rolling.
Yeah,
you
love
know,
you love your
But-
late checkouts.
Exactly. But that's how like dude, I remember when our internet went out in England. And like the dude showing up like speaking Cockney and you barely understand what he's saying. It was, "Oh, bro,
Apples and pears.
I'm very big, you know, and it's like, dude, it's been out for like 3 fucking weeks. Like, do you know how many MySpace comments I have that are unchecked right now? Can you fucking get it
And
going?
then you did one of these.
Yeah, literally hit the hard swoop, you know. But that's what's cool about Europe. Is like their culture is built around like we're gonna stop and smell the roses.
Yeah,
you know,
true.
I love
Very
that.
true.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very
like
true.
the convenience of America is nice,
The perspective's different.
but it's also
Yeah.
like to some degree overwhelming. Like
It's
I feel like
refreshing to
they're
go
a
and
little
do,
more
yeah.
balanced in Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, any kind of travel, just broadens the soul. I feel like for
Yeah.
a lot of people
Yeah.
that are very closed-minded and whatever else, they've never left their spirit lake, they've never left their little town. But if you actually go out and experience the world and experience other people's ideas, I mean, that changes. And it also probably influences your music as well, right?
I mean,
It changes your view on life.
yeah. I mean, I can't exactly pinpoint. Like, I mean, I think that's just like a bonus with it. You know? I mean,
I feel like it influences literally everything
the
because it is
Yeah.
the perspective. Like if you grow up in one area, you only have one set perspective,
Yeah.
you know, and you only know what you know. But to go to these other places and see how different culture can be and what the focus is, and then even for the society to still be functioning when here those things are like big no-nos, you know, of like, Martin, you guys have a 4-hour work week, like
Yeah.
you're not a 4-hour work week, like a
Yeah.
4-day work week,
Yeah,
you know,
there's
it's
so many
like
different ways of thinking.
how does society continue, you know? And it's like because
It does.
it's just not
Yeah.
that serious,
Yeah.
dude. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, even for like from small town Spirit Lake, even to like my first time in New York City, like that was even that.
Yeah.
Like my first time over there, and just on the East Coast in general.
Yeah.
Like even that. at
Just
the
looking
time,
up and you're like, what the
I'm
fuck?
like,
Yeah.
even or just like, even just all like there's like the East Coast is way more ahead than the West Coast. Like at least from my perspective, that's what it
Yeah.
seems like.
Well, I
you
mean,
know?
that's where we started.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, makes sense. But just on all the things, I was like, oh man, like I am so behind. Like, like it was it. But yeah, and then going to Europe, still, it's just like, holy shit, people are just so different.
Yeah,
like,
they are.
It is a completely different perspective.
It's refreshing, I think.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It is very nice. And except I mean, not a lot of people over there. I mean, at least in my personal experience,
Mhm.
a lot of people that I ran into, you know, just on my alone adventures, did not care for Americans that much.
No,
So.
yeah,
Tell
we don't
the-
have the best reputation,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I mean, I
the
get
pizza
it.
story.
Yeah.
But the other
what?
thing,
Tell the pizza story.
Pizza story,
Yeah, dude.
or the.
Right in England,
Are you talking about my first night in England?
I think so.
Oh, yeah.
With the girl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that made me so mad. Bro. I'm so glad I wasn't there.
This person like spit their whole drink in my face, like, and it was just like welcome to England, and then like the next day,
what?
The-
It just
Yeah.
randomly
Yeah,
came up to
like
you?
they were hanging out like around, and yeah, it I was like, okay, it was like a rough day that day for me personally, anyways, and then that
Oh,
happened,
that was the
but-
cherry on
And then the
top.
next day it was like,
The complete opposite?
I know I went to this like there's like this bar with this burger joint inside in Birmingham, and I go up and I lost my glasses on the Carnifex tour, which was like right before here.
Oh, no.
And
Cataracts.
and I can't see. I have terrible vision, and I don't know what the reason was, but like I was just walking up and looking at the menu, but the dude wasn't like, the guy working wasn't in my field of view or like field of vision or whatever. But I was looking at the menu. I was probably squinting because I couldn't see shit, and he goes like, "Hey, nobody looks at my fucking menu. Like, there's menus on the table. Like, don't fucking do that." Like, and then starts getting buck, like. Almost to the point where
That's
he's
where
like
Black Sabbath's from, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Oh, no, I went to the Black Sabbath bridge or
Oh,
whatever.
hell yeah, yeah.
But dude was like about ready to fight me just for like
Looking at his
looking
menu.
at his
Wow.
menu. I don't know if it was because I was.
I'm
like,
sorry you've had that crazy experience. I did not
No.
have an experience like that at all.
Oh
I've been
no!
over there twice.
I mean, no, I had plenty of great ones.
Okay.
Like, but there's definitely a few where I was like, God damn.
Yeah. No, I mean, I had a few in England
Yeah.
for sure where they just don't care much for Americans.
Yeah,
You know, not all of them,
unfortunately- Yeah,
obviously,
not all
but-
of them, but there's obviously tourists that have like given us a bad name, and then their fault for just generalizing all of us.
Yeah.
That we're all because that's obviously not true anywhere.
Funniest thing to me that I realized was like, at least a lot of like people that I've met that are from overseas always give like American shit for like the cheeseburger being like.
Yeah, because we're obsessed with cheese. Yeah,
but
but, it's
the-
like, have you tried it? It's fucking
No,
delicious.
but like if you go to Europe, there are burger
Yeah.
joints next to burger joints.
and there's
There-
KFCs,
they are
there's McDonald's.
every-
Yeah,
like I ate more cheeseburgers in Europe on that tour than I've ever than probably any like U.S. tour
Yeah.
I've done.
there's all
I'm
the
like,
same chains we have
yeah.
here are over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Subway has the most in the world.
Not to
Yeah.
mention just
Yeah.
the local spots that like there's so many.
Yeah,
of
the
those.
pub.
You
Every
know what
pub
I mean?
has
Like,
burgers and fish and chips and all that stuff
Yeah.
too. It's like
Yeah,
just because it's different.
yeah.
Yeah, that's that mentality. Maybe it will change. Maybe it won't. But
But I mean, I think that's
we have
that's
the
still
same
a
people over here make fun of them like
Right.
oh, Cockney.
See,
bad
and that,
teeth. It's-
yeah,
it goes
that's the
both
thing. I
ways.
think that's like the symptom of like the people who do that have probably never come to America. Where,
yes.
where the same thing, the Americans have never gone to England or to Europe in general to see like
Yeah, everyone. I've had people ask me like, "Why England?" I'm like, "Dude, you've never been there.
England's
If you've
so
been
sick.
there, it's the best."
so sick.
Dude,
yeah,
Camden is
Yeah.
rad, man.
yeah, stay in Cam- Yeah, you should go to Camden.
Yeah, yeah.
or Bath.
Oh, dude, Bath's crazy.
Cool ass town,
yeah.
yeah.
Take a bath, Roman bath.
yeah. Birmingham was awesome too. Like,
I mean, I love all of
Yeah,
it. Dude.
I
I
mean-
haven't got to get to Scotland,
yeah,
but
dude.
Scotland's great.
mean to get up
Awesome.
there. There's this thing called the Pandy.
Oh yeah,
Made it so we were gonna go to Japan and go back over and everything, but now I got a kid.
dude. Scotland, they were super nice. Like somebody, there was like a group of people that like shouted something at me outside this bar, kind of by the venue, and I responded, not in like a aggressive confrontation,
Right.
but like I responded and was like, "What?" and they were like, "You're American."
And then they hit me.
Yeah, no. And then they're like
spit in my
waving,
face.
waving me over there, and then there's like 8 people that are like, "Say this, say that,"
Like how we would do to
yeah,
them. Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? It was really weird. Like,
He says water.
What? I'm going to tell you something I've never told anybody, and this is going to be embarrassing for everybody. So you guys know this band, Enter Shikari?
Yeah.
oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
So in my old bands, we were playing with them, and at that point, I had never met anyone English, and I was like 18. We're playing with them, and I love that band, especially at that time, and I'm just so excited to meet these guys, and we're hanging out with them. And as they're talking to me, the only time I've ever heard an English accent is when we're joking around.
Yeah.
So as they're talking to me, I can't help but like, oh yeah, you're just like doing English accent back to them.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And they're like, what the fuck is this kid doing?
Yeah.
Just like, I couldn't help it, but I kept like the entire time I talked with them was in an English accent.
That's so funny.
and I couldn't,
dude.
and I knew I was doing it, and I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
Dude, isn't that sad, dude?
No, I do that where like I don't speak in an English accent, but if I watch like English movies or whatever, my inner monologue has a British accent.
But like, how embarrassing though! You're like
Yeah.
so stoked to meet this person that's like your hero, and you're like just
You feel like you're mocking
yeah,
them?
and they're just like, "What's this fucking kid?"
Subconsciously, yeah.
And you're like, "All right, man, I'm sorry about that."
I won't throw them completely under the bus, but you're gonna know who if you watch this. There was one of the members in the band one night in Austin, Texas. He went out. Most of us were just chilling in the van, like tired. Like we're in bars every night. We don't care.
Is this a couple years ago?
This was many years ago, and few of them decide to go out, and I can't get a hold of them, and it's like,
Is this like downtown Austin?
yeah,
Because
downtown.
we were
Yeah.
talking about all the cities and everything. Downtown Austin's awesome.
oh yeah, I love downtown Austin. And
And you can't get a hold of them.
no, can't get a hold of them, and not that I was panicked, but it was like,
Annoyed. Is this
not-
like
not
before
even-
you need to leave?
no,
or you
it
guys
was
are
just
chilling
like,
for the
hey,
night?
we should probably like we were parked downtown in like a not very good spot.
We should probably move.
Like we probably shouldn't post up there for the night or whatever. So
Yeah.
it was like one of those. And first round, I go find him. like just to check on him, and I find him at Dirty Dog, and like, have you been to that venue?
I have
No,
not, but it's
right-
kind
I
of
think
like a
it's right
historic
down-
Osstown.
It's like right down
punk rock
on
venue,
like
right?
6th Street. Yes, it's something like that. But I find some members there, and they are completely shit-faced, speaking in I don't know what accent they're trying, but they're telling me it's Finnish at the time. And they're like, "We met this Finnish band, and we're talking like them, so we get free drinks."
Oh, so it's not. Yeah,
They're like pestering this band. It wasn't like any bands in the scene. It was just some. I think it might have been
polka.
Yeah, like, I don't know what it was or whatever, but like they were just bugging this band and hanging around them, talking in their fake accents the whole time, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm cringing. And I think being sober and then like seeing like the looks, and like they think that they're
Just
totally
like real
selling
quick,
it.
like
Just wasted. They think they're just selling it.
And it's just so bad.
Everybody around them's like, what the fuck?
I have thought you're gonna go say they're in there with like cowboy hats, and like, yo, give me another
no.
beer. That's what you're gonna say, and they're like, and then we got in a fight.
No, but later that night, when I was going to look for them, I was walking down one of the streets, and still talking in this these accents. I can hear the accents echoing from around the corner, and I'm like, oh, they're close by. And I walk around the corner, and I see one of my band members, the silhouette of it, being tossed by the belt and the neck collar out into the middle of the street.
Oh, that's gonna be on the internet forever.
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
We're clipping that. That was a good story.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad I told my story.
Yeah.
Now you open up, you get some. You know.
Oh. Yeah, we're a rather embarrassing bunch, especially back then.
You'll find all bands are, dude. I guess coming back to like you're saying, like when you're starting out Spear, like you never expect to be like where you are now or have the experiences you're having. But if you just do what you love and put it out into there, and just like you're saying, things happen.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I wish I was an extortionist.
Well, dude, I mean,
I wish he would just ask me.
happens.
Boom,
Yeah.
you gotta put it out there.
yeah,
Yeah.
just to I mean, to kind of make another like really huge full circle thing, was like my first concert was Warped Tour 05 when I was a 7-year-old, and I was watching Under Oath, and I looked at my mom and was like, this is what I want to do with my like I'm gonna do
That's
this one
so
day.
cool. Your mom
And
took
then-
you.
No, yeah, like my parents are the shit.
I was gonna say they sound very supportive.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
able to do this
Yeah,
early
I
on.
mean, dude, even
Yeah,
like
they're
the
not
music,
normal parents.
like they're
That's why they have not a normal kid. Just kidding.
no, it's unconventional. Like they're the best. Like great parents, but like even my music taste is like, you know, Alice in Chains like my all-time favorite band because of them. Like
Interesting.
that's like
I
all
thought-
my main influences like come from the music.
So did
my
they
parents.
listen to like the punk and stuff too?
Oh,
for them?
my parents listen to heavy shit too. Like and like there's bands that I listen to that I wouldn't have
You
no
never know
idea.
yet, yeah.
Like I'd show up, I'd come home and visit, walk in the basement. I'm like, what the fuck, mom? You're listening to like Soul Blind, like
Yeah.
That's so cool.
or like this
yeah.
other like or like a heavier band or like this band or that band. And
So
I'm
they're
like,
probably stoked for you.
oh
Then.
no, yeah. I mean, I didn't really go to high school. They let me just kind of leave and
Yeah.
go on tour, but it's because my mom knew. She's like, I know my kid. Everyone's gonna judge me on
Right.
the outside because
Dave Grohl's mom did the same thing.
You know what I mean?
I wish mine
Yeah.
did.
Dave Grohl's my mom's fucking idol. That's
Yes,
so funny.
yeah. So Dave Grohl's mom wrote a book, and there was this common thread that what you're just talking about with all these big artists or anybody that's kind of done more is they all had one parent, at least one,
Yeah.
at that age. They're like, "Hey, I want to do music," and they're like, "Go,
Yeah.
do it."
Yeah.
And they support them and give them what they need to go, and they all have that in common. Not one of them. I mean, I guess there's probably random people that didn't have parents or whatever else, but usually all of them have that common thread.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to
That's
do
so
that
cool.
for my kids because I've literally like my parents are like, you know, like I always tell everybody I grew up like in this like Leave It to Beaver type,
Yeah.
you know, like perfect like. Hi, honey. I'm
Yeah, your
home."
dad's military.
and I'm the one with the swoopy hair.
Yeah.
That's like you don't fucking get me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But like I've literally gotten drunk with them and told them, like explained to them, like I resent you for making me get my diploma. you know?
Yeah,
Because it was
I
like,
haven't used it. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
And dude,
I'm
they-
doing fine without it.
exactly. Like they would tell me all the time, like, you know, oh, you're so smart. Like we know you could get straight A's. Why don't you just do it? And it's like, because I'm not interested.
This is you can't
You
force
know?
somebody. Their
And-
passion's not there.
Exactly. And then the whole thing of like, get your diploma, whatever. I get it, but it's like the amount of times that they would like take music away as a punishment for not doing well in school, and then I go and do exactly what I said I was going to do. Is like,
Yeah.
you know, like well, if I'm so fucking smart or whatever, like why would you bet against me in the first place? So
I mean, from their perspective, they're probably just trying to do their best for what
right,
they think
and
is best. But
right, they only know what they know, and especially because both my parents were poor as shit, like, and didn't have a ton of opportunity. They're not aware of like
Right.
the opportunity they're presenting to me, you know. But I hope that I pass that on to my kids of like, if they come to me and they're like, I want to drop out of high school, it's like, well, first of all, why? You know, because if they go, oh, because school sucks, it's like, well, fuck you, you're going. You know, but if they're like, I want to do something else, it's like, that's great. If you
I have
want
a
to
tour
leave,
booked.
Yeah.
exactly. If you have a tour book, it's like, if they want to leave, like, that's cool, but there's going to be like guidelines of, all right, well, if you're leaving to do this thing, you have to actually do this thing.
Yeah.
If I come home and you're just fucking playing Call of Duty with your homies, like, I'm going to kick your ass. But if you're actually doing the thing, then let's go. Like, fuck high school.
exactly.
Well, and you probably learned so much more through just those experiences than somebody who went to school and had access to anything that they wanted. Like
Yeah.
you actually wanted to be there and wanted to do it. So
Or
you-
what's worse is like there's so many people that didn't have the supportive parents and did what they said instead of following their passion, and now they're just their whole life is regret.
Exactly.
It's like,
Yeah.
what if?
Yeah.
And that's the
Exactly.
worst. That's the worst, is living with what if. Even if you tried and failed, that
Yeah.
you at least tried. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
With a what if? Yeah.
And it's not like my family doesn't like we're not like my family's not loaded or anything. It's not like
Right.
It's not like a mom and dad paid like
Yeah, we're all middle
rich,
class
we're
here.
rich,
Yeah,
we're like
yeah,
rich parents
blue collar.
thing. No, it's just like music runs so deep in my family, and like my stepdad plays instruments, my stepbrothers play instruments, my mom plays drums, like my dad plays guitar and
That's so
and,
cool.
and all this.
Yeah.
Like everybody in my family does music, and it's when they clearly saw me just sitting in my room doing nothing but that, and just like or catching me playing air guitar in the fucking mirror as a little kid.
It's
like a
what
tiny,
you- yeah.
tiny
He's
little
got the
kid.
passion,
Like my
the drive.
Like, luckily, like they were just like, dang, like he's like playing local shows already, and like he's doing stuff. Like there's tours booked. There's like
He's got the drive.
You know,
I mean, that's what you
and-
need,
and
man.
I-
Anybody can play music. You need the drive.
yeah, it's definitely I'm just another troubled teen when I was a kid, but I just did not do well in school at all. Like socially, even grades, any of it, it just was not
Yeah.
working out. And
I
my
mean,
mom
there's
was
so
like,
many people that don't click anyway. So it's so
Yeah.
cool. Your mom's like,
she
no.
like she took a lot of shit for that too, like for letting a kid so young go out, and I was exposed to a lot and spent a lot of my developmental years in a van touring. Like when you're that young, I remember like just the constant state of fear, like this is a big kind of scary world, like
But like he said,
But-
Tyler was
but
saying,
yeah,
like that you wouldn't be the person you are
No,
today
no,
without
I
it.
would not take
and
it
same
back
with
for-
Blue,
yeah.
like that shaped you who you are.
No.
But also, maybe the trade off is that had to happen to you, because now your kids, if you ever have them,
Right.
will not have
Dude,
that.
and-
Or
and
like
that-
your parents' probably were the same thing, and then they
Yeah,
you know,
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, and it's not even like I had like terrible parents who didn't get it. Like they came around eventually.
Right.
It's just they're very risk averse type people that are like, whatever. But I remember my dad saying that a long time ago, where my sister was asking why his parents never really like did anything. Like they never went on camping trips or came with us to Disneyland or like, any of that stuff. But he was like, because they didn't know that stuff. Like they're from a different era. But he's like,
Right.
that's the thing. Like I did better than they did. And now you guys can go do better than we did, And like, I think what he meant at the time was like monetarily, like now you can go be a lawyer, I can give you my GI Bill because I was in the military and you can go to school for free. But instead it's like, no, like you opened up opportunity for me to go do something that almost nobody gets to do, and whether that means like I get crazy monetary success and I'm making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year or not, like I got to do something that almost nobody gets to do, you know, and that to
That's
me
what it is. It's the
exactly
moments, not the yeah,
Exactly.
I
And
feel like you and
that's-
I have talked about that a
right,
lot.
and
then
that's just like
how you define success and everything as well.
right.
but-
It's like the boomer mentality of like
Yeah.
do it for the money, you know. But it's like I don't want. I'm just not money motivated, you know. Like that's not why I'm here. I want, like I say it all the time with our band, where it's like the goal isn't necessarily to go make millions and billions of dollars. It's like like when you play Civilization, you know, and you have like the cultural win, you know, versus the economic win. Like I want the cultural win.
Right.
I want to go leave my footprint and do something really, really sick that like leaves a legacy. And I don't care if that's a financial legacy. I care that it's like people remember like that's that band that did that really cool thing, you know?
Which kind of brings it back to probably why you guys are like spending so much time and trying to
Well,
make this album as great, you know,
yeah.
sonically, lyrically.
I mean, my like mantra, and I've told this to Blue a million times. Like, my inner circle has heard me. Like, I don't know, the way I see it's like the slow burners shine the brightest. Like, you know, there's all like it circles back to like the label talks and like all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's like not saying it's always this situation. Again, always situational, like with the deals and all that. But like, you can rope in like TikTok people and like TikTok musicians and stuff like that. It's like, you know, it's one thing to like, okay, maybe somebody writes a hit song, goes viral on the internet, blah, blah, blah. They do all this stuff, whatever. But like a lot of the times it's, they have that
The
moment
faster the climb, the follow the
you know what
yeah.
I mean? And like a
Yeah.
lot of those people like don't have experience like
Right.
like the tour, like years of touring experience, years of like
Or the
Dude, even-
audience that they have is
or-
fickle. It's like
Yeah,
I'm
even-
following you because this is trending right now, but
Yeah,
tomorrow there's
it's
something
like-
else.
you know,
And even to know, like, you know, it's like how you always hear that thing of like people who win the lottery, like end up killing themselves all the time.
Or they end up losing
They end up
all the
losing
money
it all
a year later.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because managing that amount of money is very difficult if you didn't learn the skills on how to manage that amount of money on the way to earning
And,
it.
and people, like more often not statistically, if you're gambling already, you're not good with money.
Exactly, but it's the same thing with bands,
Relatable.
where like with music, like you don't know about that snaky manager that's gonna rip you off because
especially
you
at
just
your
got
young age
here.
when you started.
Right.
Yep.
And thankfully they've gotten all that.
You have all the experience.
I think I've
But you've gone through it yourself as well.
A little
in
bit,
other
which
projects
is
and stuff.
ironic because it was the same dude. You don't have to say who it was, but it was the same dude.
yeah, it's I mean it's starting.
It's unfortunate we would all kind of have to go through those things.
yeah, no, I mean, but even those experiences, like I'm glad they happened.
yeah, no regrets.
And
I mean, it's all
that's
about what you're doing now and forward.
literally
Right.
Everything led to this moment.
That's why I talk about the label stuff all the time, is because when I was in Hearts and Hands, that was the lesson of like, cool, we're on this like fairly well-known label that has larger bands on it.
Right, and it's
you know?
connected to a bigger label.
Exactly. But we put out this record that we're super proud of, and they're gassing us up the whole time, like, oh, this is crazy, this is going to be huge, like, you know, like even like
Yeah, but the second you're not, they're like,
then they're out, and all of a sudden, because that's literally what happened, like,
yeah,
even
there's no artist
the
development
band
deals
asked
anymore.
the band asked the like the A&R, like, okay, dude, how many first week sales do we need to hit for us to like
Yeah, it has to be the
for
first
you to
week.
want to push us? And so they were
It's
like, I tell
crazy.
you what, if you guys get 800 first week, then like we'll start putting you on bigger tours with like
It's
the,
all about
the
that
other
first
bands on
work
our
of the
roster.
release,
The band
yeah.
goes off and does 1,200 first week, right? Pushes hard as hell, and nothing happened. We ended up getting shelved for 2 years.
Yeah,
You know,
and
and
I was at
and-
the first Hearts and Hands show.
right, and it would have been
When,
longer
when
if
AK was still in the band.
Oh, that's hilarious. Damn, that was forever ago. It would have been longer
It was.
if the only reason why it was 2 years is because that's how long it took for the label, like for the deal to
Yeah,
fall off. You know what I mean? But that was sort of the realization that once you sign, it doesn't necessarily mean that the next day you're some crazy rock star, and you have to
No.
be very, very aware of what
And-
are you signing, what are the terms.
and these days they only want to fuck with you if you're already making your money anyway. So at that point, you're
Exactly.
like, what can you offer me?
If I'm already
But
making
once
the
again,
money,
situational.
Yeah,
Depends on
yeah,
who you are,
yeah.
what you're looking to do. But I agree with you 100%, Blue, where it's like, I mean, once again, situational. But for me, it's you want the fans that are with you no matter what.
right?
And I was kind of telling you that when you were showing me the new music, where it was like, you may lose some new fans.
Yeah.
But that's
We know-
okay
we know
because you're
that.
going to gain way
Way
more.
more.
And the people that are sticking with you, and like once again, it's not that much different than other songs that I've heard from you guys.
Yeah,
So
I mean, like
it's
the-
really not that much.
the people
like Fill the
who-
Void
yeah.
doesn't seem that much different than
Yeah, no, like the people who like are aware and like actually give a shit and like have listened to the catalog, like I don't think it's gonna
No.
be
not
much of a
one bit. They're going to be
surprise.
stoked.
Because
Yeah.
and
They're
on
gonna be
top of that
stoked.
too, like and it is not at all a thing of like, oh, we got to write rock hits now because breakdowns are stupid and we're better than breakdowns.
No.
It's like no,
No.
like
We have some of the heaviest stuff we've ever
yeah,
Yeah.
that,
done
like
coming
they're
out.
like we're never
Por qué no
going.
los dos?
We're never gonna completely like abandon
Your sound,
you know,
yeah.
like
it's always your sound because you're the one that's doing
exactly.
Right.
So it's like okay, yeah, like maybe the the deathcore leaning fans and the I hate clean vocals crowd is gonna like
not be
not
down.
care for a majority of the
They
new
can stay
material.
in their basement.
But
It's
there's
fine.
but like okay, just give the whole thing a chance. Like there's stuff that's
Punishers.
heavier than anything we've ever released also there. So it's like if you want to listen to the heavy shit, just go listen to the heavy shit.
Yeah, I
You
I
know?
guess you can't try to. Once again, audience should always come last because they never
Yeah.
know exactly what they want, and that shouldn't dictate what your art is going to be. You
Yeah.
should always make what
Right.
you want to, and that's when it's pure. When you start thinking of outside sources, that's when shit starts
Yeah.
to suck.
Yeah.
But if you're doing what you guys want to do, what you're inspired to do, then it's going to come through, and people are also going to resonate
Yeah.
with that.
Dude.
But unfortunately, the downside with like the heavier music or even like punk, it's not punk.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, it's about the emotion.
Yeah.
Punk has never been.
Yeah.
I've never felt like punk is like this is the punk sound. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, it's about the attitude. It's about the
Yeah.
emotion.
Right. It's like the SLC punk thing where at the end he's like,
we're
turns
all
out
fucking,
we're all
you're
posers.
You're
yeah.
all posers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's like I'm sure I've told it to you guys. I say it to all my bands. It's
Yeah.
like, do you want to be Pulp Fiction or Transformers, right? And neither one is the wrong answer, right?
just depends
Neither
on
one
what
is the
you
wrong
wanna do,
answer, but
yeah.
it's
Or
like
successful,
like
just in their own way.
exactly like the difference being like Transformers grosses billions of dollars. But nobody cares anymore. It's honestly a little bit of a joke.
And it's a
like
broken
everybody
record
thinks
now,
Michael
and-
Bay's kind of fucking
Right.
annoying. Pulp Fiction, way less money. But if you release Transformers in theaters tomorrow, like who the fuck's going? Nobody. Who cares? But Pulp Fiction, everybody still cares. Like that was my dad's favorite
replay
movie.
value.
Yeah,
That's my
cult
favorite
classic,
movie.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's and that's
And at the time, people were saying the same thing about him. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? Every time he like
Right.
Reservoir Dogs and everything
And I
else
mean,
he
it's
was
like,
making, they're
what-
like,
Yeah.
"You're insane. Why
Yeah.
would you ever do this gory, crazy shit?"
Exactly.
It's like when you're onto something new and someone's saying that, you're on the right direction.
exactly.
Yeah,
like
people
where,
aren't talking shit, then you're not.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Which
Like
I-
where does the term cult even come from? I mean, it's culture.
Going back to the new record, how are you approaching it like lyrically different than the other ones? Because
Well,
obviously it's a more mature sound. It's a little different.
so well,
You're a different person than you were.
even when the band like broke up for a little while, like a couple years, like I never stopped like writing. You know what I mean? Like at
Still
least
working
like
on
like I
music,
mean
yeah.
even music like there's some of the songs that have yet to come out that I wrote while we were broken up. And it's literally like my favorite song of ours that nobody's like heard yet, but like I never really stopped, but a lot of like the lyrics and stuff kind of are from back then because we've taken so much time. Like
We
I'm-
have a pool
I'm-
to write from.
yeah,
write
yeah.
from,
Like I'm
so-
in a completely different headspace now than when I wrote all the lyrics for at least the majority of the new music. But I don't know. The approach, you know, a lot of it was just like, you know, how I was taking COVID. Not that it's about COVID, but like, you know, the band broke up and then COVID started. So it was like, and being so young in starting this band and like growing up in it, it's like,
It's your baby.
well, I attached my identity to that like way like it was just all I knew. Like that's who I was. You know what I mean?
So
And
it forced you to reconstruct yourself.
it pretty much like felt like the carpet was ripped under me. I was definitely going through like an identity crisis, like a pretty fucking intense one for a while.
Sounds like a very pivotal point in your life.
Yeah,
It sucks
I
that it's
didn't-
like a domino thing where it's like this happened, this happened, this
Yeah,
happened.
no, it was.
storm.
It's definitely. It was not like, oh, this was the worst period of my life. Some like
Right,
big
but it's
dramatic thing,
enough
but
to,
it was
to,
just
like,
like
evoke.
it was the first. Like I didn't know what. It's like, what do I do with my hands now? Like
Yeah.
like
Yeah. I've been doing this
like,
for so
I don't
long, this is what I
even
know.
who I am without this because it's all my mind is. Even now that we're back into it, still to this day, it's like, okay, extortionist, like, what's next? You know, like what things need to get done, whatever. So it was a lot of it was like writing about like feeling lost with myself and like not like just really knowing who I was anymore, like, and just also from on the other end, it's like a lot of things changed following that. Like once I wasn't in a band anymore, there was like a lot of friends I realized that like that I thought were my friends, like, oh, because I wasn't this like cool guy in a band anymore, you know, like they treated me differently. Like there's like, you know, select people that I was just like, so it was just like a growing period, you know, and it's just lyrically just kind of like about like finding my like just the struggles that all that stuff kind of comes with, you know, just like all my friends aren't really like who I, you know, as close as I thought they were, you know, my passion and the thing that like I thought made me is gone, you know. It's just like just kind of like finding myself again and just like realize like the things I realized and like just dealing with going through the motions really with all that within those subjects, you know. So
This is gonna be a good album.
just like adjusting.
I feel like anytime someone has some sort of thing like that, yeah, that's gonna be some good. I mean, I've only got to hear so many tracks, but this is gonna be.
Yeah, it's a bit more introspective than what I usually write.
That's when it gets good.
You know?
If
Exactly.
you're, it seems like you were in a very honest, vulnerable spot. Like you said, with certain friends, it's like the fame thing, right? It's like, okay, I just learned who my real friends are right now,
you know.
or
I
just
feel
who's
like
in my
stuff's
life.
been-
Things shifts.
Yeah,
Right.
It's
I feel like stuff's been more philosophical than the
Right.
last stuff.
Which
You
is
know what I
like
mean?
you're
Like
gonna
more
reach more people
introspective.
talking that way and,
Yeah.
and opening up than versus like my girlfriend broke up with me
yeah,
today.
yeah.
So-
that
Which is what a lot of the back catalog was.
That's what I was referencing one of your songs. I know the songs.
And
No.
I'm sure a lot of other people were experiencing like similar things in their lives at
Yeah.
that time. So definitely agree
Resonate,
that a lot of
yeah.
people are probably going to resonate with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I write based. I mean, as most of us, I feel like at this point do. Like it's everything is that I write is like off personal experience. I'm not just gonna write some like. There's even in Extortionist catalog, like especially when I was younger, I was definitely not the greatest lyricist back then. You know, it's like
But that's okay.
There's
that's
never been
they're
an
like
extortion-
diary entries.
Yeah,
you know what I
there's-
mean?
there's-
That's you from then. That's fine.
Yeah, there's never been an Extortionist song that's just like I'm just gonna write something like
That everyone
brutal
relates to
or
or
like
whatever.
or like whatever. Like I mean, I hope people relate to it because my goal is to connect with people, you know, or have them connect to the music in whatever way that they feel. Like because I don't write very direct lyrics most of the time. It's like, what do you make of it? Like, you know, however you can apply this piece of art to your own experience.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like what I like to do.
That's when it's the best.
Yeah, but I don't know. I everything. There's definitely a meaning in a situation in mind every time I write.
A through line, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, like it's. I don't just write shit just to write shit or just rhyme stuff just to rhyme stuff. Like you know, this album. I feel like I'm using bigger words, you know. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, it's a bit more.
It's
mature.
incendiary.
Incendiary.
Going from like how you guys are writing process, just diving in a little bit more where I'm kind of imagining, you can correct me if I'm wrong, since you're kind of go off the vibe like I do. I imagine Blue working on stuff or whoever else working on stuff. You're on the couch, just kind of vibing. And then do you have like a lyric book or do you have lyrics on your phone? You kind of just like, what's the story? What's the vibe for this one? What's that kind of thing?
Usually, like, I mean, I just use my phone. But I don't really write lyrics in the studio. I never really
What?
have.
Sorry, yeah. You said you
but-
kind of had them like you already have some. Do you kind of just kind of scroll through?
I'll first, like, if there's a new demo and if like I hear like melodies in my head or something in my head, like I'll check and see if that fits. But usually, like, I don't know, like, I mean, we're all musicians here, but like usually, like, I will like do an instrumental and I'll
Right.
just take that home and then like
Oh, so you'll go and digest it on your own.
yeah,
Yeah,
Do you do the car or the
all the time,
headphones?
car all the
Car.
time.
Yeah,
I'm
I feel like
always
cars. That's like the
driving.
test.
It's
Yeah.
the car
the late
test,
night driving
yeah.
at night. If I'm in a bad mood, like
That's where the
what
shit
is
comes out.
what is this like?
Mm.
What emotion am I feeling, and like what personal experience can I apply to this, or like what am I going through right now, which is usually what it is. It's like, okay,
So to follow
you
that up, doing the music you guys do you find yourself having to be in that kind of aggressive, kind of energetic type mood to convey that, or do you find it just works with everything?
I write better when I'm tired for some reason. Like if it's like okay, say the studio session ends at 2 a.m. and I drive home and I'm listening to the demo over and over until I get home, and then I'm usually ready to go to bed by the time I'm home. But like I find with myself personally, that's usually like when it hits. But like I don't like keep myself in like a negative headspace intentionally to like get the things out. It's like I let it come naturally, and or some nights it takes a few weeks or however long like for me to actually
don't
apply
force
it.
it.
No, like I'm very passionate about the lyrical side of things, so it's like I don't ever want to force that.
As you should be.
And I don't know, like I want to make sure that whatever like thing I'm feeling, it's like it's real, it's honest, it's like authentic. It's like this is what I was feeling in this moment when I wrote this, like I don't want to like sit there and just like, not that we haven't done that like before with especially like the Aaron song, like it was a co-write, so we collaborated, like that's a different situation.
Situational, yeah.
But typically it's like I'm gonna wait until like I'll wait until a negative headspace does hit, and then I will like that's an outlet itself right there,
Right.
like that's how I like
That's how you can get through
And-
that thing.
and-
Plus because Ben plays guitar and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not just me writing.
Yeah.
And then being like, here's the instrumental being to like do your thing. Like we're usually like even for the Aaron song, like I mean pretty much every song, it usually is like kind of this thing, like I don't know, and then Ben's like, oh, I hear some stuff, and then I hand it to him, and then I'm like, I hear what you're hearing, like and then we pass it back and forth 5 or 6 times before we're like, yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
For whatever reason, I was picturing the little fish and SpongeBob. Meep, meep.
No, yeah.
That's interesting because usually people, I mean, that you're the first that's kind of given us more of a like.
Detailed.
Well,
or-
also just it's different than anyone else we've talked to.
Really?
And that's what's cool about this. Obviously, we're seeing how other artists work, how they approach it. Everyone's different. Everyone has. You're not just. It's not just you coming to the table. It's all your experiences.
Yeah,
It's
no.
everything you've gone through. It's your whole. It's your parents. It's It's Spirit Lake. It's all
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So it's interesting that it's like I'm gonna wait until I'm kind of in that headspace. And then, like therapy, I'm gonna do like your diary entry or whatever. Use this, and that's kind of starting the podcast was the same kind of thing. We're gonna take these shitty stories, or like anytime something shitty happens to us when we're playing shows, and it's no longer like, oh, I'm so bummed that happened to me. And it's like, cool, now we have a funny story
Yeah.
for the podcast
Oh,
tomorrow.
yeah.
Like it takes the negative and flips it into a positive.
Yeah, yeah,
and then
absolutely.
Furthermore, you're making something that everyone else can relate to
Glean
and help
something off
them through
Yeah.
something. I'm sure you've kind of gone through a lot with going out and touring where people come up and just spill their heart to you
That's
about
very
how
frequent.
your music has touched them. So
And-
it's important that you don't force it and that you're doing. I mean, obviously everyone's different.
No,
but it seems
absolutely.
like what you're doing is getting you there.
Well, when I like my original like mindset, even when starting the band, was just like I mean, even at this point now, like I feel like I've done my job, at least because when I started the band, my intention was like I don't give a shit if it's one person or 100 people in the crowd. I'd rather play to the one person that like really connects and
Yes.
gives a shit than like the 100 other tough guys just having a dick measuring competition in the mosh pit and trying to play the
I've
who's
played
the
a lot of these shows.
tries to like then who's the coolest motherfucker in the room, you know? Like I like those kids like that are just fucking overly excited or like can relate deeply and do come up to the merch table and talk to me. Like that's the shit that like I wanted originally.
That's what you
and
live
I've got
for,
that.
yeah.
So it's like everything after that, it's all just been a bonus to me. So
Right.
like
It's the human connection
you know,
that we're looking for, you know?
that's why it's like I'm not gonna write something that's like with Extortionist that's like none of this actually means anything to me and it's just like catchy like rhyme
Right.
schemes. Like it's like no, I'm gonna wait until like I'm going through something and then convey the message, because then it's like, okay, this is like a real emotion and we all go through the same shit, you know, at some point in our life. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Right.
you know, so that's my whole thing with it.
I mean, that's very commendable, and I it's cool that you're not going to lie to them, but you're not going to lie to yourself either. Yeah. So it's cool. I mean, I think it's important that I feel like for a lot of people, if they don't set that boundary or that rule when you started out, maybe you would have just done like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get famous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so if you don't have your, footing, I mean, eventually that's why you see a lot of people like, oh, we're, those bands. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is popular now. We're this band.
Yeah.
Oh, this is popular now. The 80s thing. We're doing this. You know,
Right. Yeah.
this switching left and right.
And
So
don't get me wrong, I've done that. I mean,
not
like
to the
I think
degree,
we all
not
have
to the
to some
degree where it's
degree.
different. Yeah, but
when the band broke up, like, you know, like a genre flipped and tried doing something else and it was for the wrong reasons, and I've quickly learned like, this is not me, like at all, you know? So it's like,
there's nothing wrong with going through
no,
that. But the
no.
fact that you realize that and you're honest, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, no, I need to go back to what
At least,
what
yeah,
makes
it's
me
like
me.
it's one of those things where at least now you know.
yeah.
You know, because we were talking about that yesterday, where it's like, what bands, like when System of a Down was becoming System of a Down, or Pantera was becoming Pantera,
Right.
Like
Rage
even to
Against the
know,
Machine,
Alice in the
fucking-
Chains,
Right,
Alice in the
yeah.
Chains, anything,
like
yeah.
even to know the history of Pantera and how they were a glam,
Yeah, they love Kiss,
80s
yeah.
I mean, Alice in Chains was a glam band too.
Exactly.
At one point.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen
Exactly.
Weezer before they were Weezer?
Yeah,
They
or
were
even
actually like grunge rock cool dudes, and they're like, nah, we're nerds now.
exactly like
Or
even
no, like,
even
we are
seeing
nerds, let's be
Yeah,
nerds,
yeah.
yeah.
right, like even seeing Lane Staley like sing in the 80s, you know, where I mean he killed it. It sounded good, but it just wasn't anything particularly special.
Yeah,
but
when you're being honest though, it resonates with more people.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. And obviously it's harder to pull off because even like, dude, just
it's
from
vulnerable. It's
Yeah.
hard to do.
Right.
Like, how
And-
can I be this honest and put my heart on my
yeah,
sleeve
and
show?
just from a producer perspective, like if you listen to a Pantera record, those records sound like shit because we did not know how to do that. You know
well,
what I mean?
they
We
had
did-
their sound. He did
Right.
the trigger thing on purpose.
No, and I mean even the guitar tones, right? Like it's all
Right.
like no mids and just fuzzy, like
I would argue that's what made them unique. That's
exactly
why they are what they are.
See,
is 'cause
and
it is
but
shit
that's
or
that's
whatever.
my point. That's
Oh.
my point, right? Is like in today's standards, it sounds like shit.
But
because,
then, no, it was groundbreaking.
right, but we
yeah.
figured it out. Like all the metal bands that took influence from Pantera kept taking it a step further. Because Pantera sounds like shit. You go back, you listen to Slipknot's first record, that sounds like
good
shit.
point,
You
good
know what I
point.
mean? And they were massively influenced by
Metallica,
Pantera.
everybody, yeah, you see
right,
that,
the Black
yeah.
Album, it sounds like shit. Like, and there are some people who will still say that's like one of the best mixed records of all time, but it does not sound as good as like Architect's latest record.
Right, because
That sounds-
technology keeps
Yeah,
going. But
yeah.
it's like I said, it's the
Exactly.
diary entry of
Yeah.
that time, place, them as a human
right.
at that point.
And that
yeah.
because we've been doing that on the latest record, like trying to find a tone, like a guitar tone or a drum tone. Like I
that's
said that when I
not-
joined
going
the
through
band.
the angle
Yeah,
of
that's
doing
right,
something
where-
new.
Yeah.
Exactly, where it's like because like we do this where we have like this keg hit, this gnarly keg hit,
Yeah.
and it like
It's like a key
the band
component
is
to our
right. The band is known for the keg hit, and I told them when I first joined, I was like, dude, I want that, but everywhere, like this vocal mix, this guitar tone, this kick tone, these tom tones,
like
like
some unique element to
exactly, like everything that's like when another band goes into a producer, I want them to say to the producer, we want Extortionist guitar tone, and that producer goes, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I don't know
Well,
how
so
to pull it
That's how,
off.
that's how
but-
you move the needle.
Well,
You're not going to move the
exactly.
needle, not
That-
do, just
especially-
copying somebody else.
Especially around that. That's again, like we've said, like we were talking last night. It's like, I think Rage Against the Machine is a good example because it's like
100%.
like Tom Morello's guitar playing.
No
like,
one-
you know what I
no
mean?
one-
Like
yeah.
where did he get the influence from that?
To
You know
From a
what I
do
mean?
DJ.
that.
You know,
From a DJ.
Okay.
He would, yeah, just like you will find, I feel like for a lot of cool guitar players, they're like, I'm not
That makes
emulating
so
another
much-
guitar
that
player.
makes so
I'm
much
doing a
sense.
DJ. One of my favorite slide guitar players, he's emulating singers.
Yeah.
Ah,
Vocal lines.
Dude, and
It's,
that-
you have to like
Right.
like
That's-
let me put this to blow your mind, right? Eddie Van Halen, just to put this all in a arguably one of the best guitar players
Of all time.
Of all time. Biggest song ever.
He played
He
keyboards.
he played piano.
Yeah.
Think about that. Like if you're really Rick Rubin talks about that all the time. It's like you want to get out of your way. You're a guitar player. Go pick up an instrument you've never played. See what happens.
Yeah.
Try new things.
Right.
Experiment.
Yeah.
Dude, even pulling from because like we do that. Like our influences. Even
We
though
did
we're-
that.
Yes, we did. But like even though we're a heavy band, we're not just referencing all these heavy bands. Or like I do the same thing with my artists that I've done for Extortionist. Like we're a big like mood board type band of like let's get it all. So we
Here's the
have
vision.
the vision and we know
Right,
what
before
we're looking
you ever
for.
hit record. Yeah. What are you
Right.
doing? Yeah.
But it's even
What are you
to
trying to
go
say?
Yeah.
to go and take your influences, right, and say like, you know, okay, this is my favorite band. Like if you were to say like, okay, Slipknot's my favorite band, but what is my favorite element of
Yeah, what
Slipknot?
makes that band your
What
favorite
is
band?
right? And that's
it the
completely
aesthetics?
personal.
Yeah.
It's completely personal because for some person it might be the way that Joey Jordison plays drums.
Yeah, it's
For
so interesting
someone
how
else-
different angles everyone
Right.
views something.
Maybe
perspectives.
it's that they added in the DJ stuff. Maybe it's the tones. Maybe it's whatever. But to go and like extract all these little pieces of
too many elements.
right, and then not only that, but to not just do it with like bands in your genre, but to go, okay, like I love soul music. So if I can take the chord progressions of soul music and play them in like
That is
a
how you get
grungy
somewhere
type of
new.
genre.
You take two different things that have never been merged. That's how you get somewhere
Exactly.
new.
Exactly.
It's so cool too. Like you're kind of saying, Slipknot, whatever else. If I kind of just advice to anybody that's trying to get somewhere new. Take your favorite band and then go back and see who their favorite band
Right.
is.
Yeah.
And then go back again. And you'll see like this crazy, like everyone's like, oh, this band sounds like this band. Or like, dude, there's only so many notes, A through G is A through G.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of sounds like somebody, even if you're like, oh, this person was groundbreaking, Elvis. He took all these songs, but he made them his own. Like, that's how this works.
Well,
Right.
Every
song-
painter, artist, like we all,
Every song's been written.
Yeah.
It's what you fucking do.
Everything's
your, but
derivative.
it's you that makes it different. Yeah.
It's your like
personal touch.
Yeah.
Your interpretation.
Look how many
Yeah.
love songs there are.
or
Yeah.
like at the same chord, like every chord progression's pretty much, you know what I mean? Like it's what you do with it.
Exactly. And what you say lyrically
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
Just there's so
Of
many
course,
different,
but-
obviously, so many different elements,
Yeah.
but tones and everything else.
Yeah.
So going back, something I've always wanted to ask, but I wanted to save it so it's on document. Your job is to be creative, is to help other people create. Do you ever get writer's block? Do you get to this point where you're like,
All the
because
time.
you're just constantly every single day having to help create, and some bands way more than others. How are you taking that every day?
Oh yeah. I mean that. I think.
And then still have
that's-
enough left for your own
Yeah,
art.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it.
This is to you too.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing is like learning how to be creative in the first place. It's like how you said earlier, like if you tell an artist they only have so many colors to color with,
It's a muscle.
right? Like to me, that's a very good thing, but only in the aspect of like you don't just say these are the colors you color with because that's the rules. It's taking all of your influences, all of your things, and synthesizing it down. You know, it's like if you have raw iron, it's just raw iron, but slowly through the smelting process, you get it down and, you know, put it in the water and turn it into steel and carbonize it. And then you have this thing that's like a concentrated version of what was in your head the entire time, you know? And so it's a lot of that stuff, like how you said, like, I do the thing where I care about what the artist thinks. It's for that reason. And I ask those questions of like, what is it that you want to do? Like not what it is that you think you're supposed to do, but what is it that you actually want to do? Or even when you guys came in originally and I asked, you know, it's like, okay, are you guys trying to be like a huge band, or are you trying to do this for fun? Like, is it somewhere in between? Because if you're trying to do it for fun, it's like, well, then let's just do literally whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to do it to make money, it's like, all right, then we know there are rules that we have to follow, right? Because if you want to get on radio, you have to write 3.5-minute songs, because that's the structure. They want 3.5-minute songs, so
It's got to be catchy.
They can play 3
yeah.
songs, and then they play a commercial, and then that's 10 minutes and whatever. You
Yeah,
know?
it just the rules are set in place as like like a guideline. Like, is this what you want to do? This is what. But that's the other thing, though. I feel like is that's not always the case,
Right.
because there's certain people that have gotten there that weren't trying to get there. Because I feel like, coming back to what you guys are doing, if you're doing it for the right reasons, you're trying to make something pure and putting all the outside voices out. You're like, no, we're going to create this because we want to create this, and doesn't matter if one person or 100 people, like, we're doing this anyway because we have this drive in us that we can't not create. That's when you get somewhere interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, not
Because I feel like people that are like, I want to be the biggest band ever. Sometimes that works, yes, but for a lot of people, it doesn't, because
Right.
your intentions are wrong.
Yeah, and not everyone is trying to do the same thing. Like, I have some bands that are like, they're trying to be the Octane band, right?
Right.
And they have a guitar player who is insane, like this prog genius. He can do whatever, and some of the songs that he does in his solo project are like genuinely incredible. But when he writes stuff, I have to tell him all the time, it's like, it needs to be stupider. Like,
yeah, if
literally,
you want
like,
it to be, if you want to be that thing, yeah.
right? Like, don't make it so smart. Like, make it easy to digest. But again,
Which is sad to me, because it's like, if you just did what he wanted to do, maybe they'd be in a whole nother place.
yes and no. But it's also, again, it's like the thing I was saying about Pulp Fiction versus Transformers. Neither one is the wrong answer.
Right. It just depends on what you want.
Exactly.
But
What do you want to do?
Everybody's completely different too. But it's like, where it's like, I'm doing this because this worked for this person. That doesn't mean it will work for you.
No.
Everyone's completely different.
And
And just because it just worked for them, that probably means you need to do something completely different because it's already changed.
Right. That's why I said the Civilization thing. I don't even know if that makes sense, but like there's this game called Civilization.
I figured that's what you were referencing. Was
yeah.
and
And
you love
and-
your games,
Right, I do, and it is a good one. But that's how it
Nothing
works.
wrong with
Like,
that.
like there's 4 ways to win the game. You have the war win, the science win, the economic win, and then the cultural win. And I love that there are 4 different ways to win, because there isn't any particular
There's not
correct
yeah.
answer, and it's like a massive game of chess with like way more moves and way more strategy involved. But it's the same thing with artists, where you don't have to reinvent the wheel. That's not the only way to do it. In fact, it's probably the worst way to do it. You know, it's
Yeah.
the most risky way to do it. And if you don't want to do it that way, I don't think anyone should get shit. Like, I think the term sellout is so silly. You know,
I feel like we've had this conversation before, where I'm like, the first people to always say that kind of thing, or be negative, or be the bullshit Punisher comment on YouTube, are usually the people, or I would say 99% of the people, that have never created anything themselves. Because if you've created something, are you like, have you ever tried to write a song, man?
Exactly.
And you're like, oh, here, this song sucks.
I mean,
It's like,
even to say
like,
to say like Nickelback sucks or something, it's like you are so incredibly wrong.
Nickelback fucks.
Nickelback.
well,
fucks.
it's like, if you're not like, you can't say that it sucks, but you can be like, hey, I don't like this.
Right.
You have to look at it from that aspect. Like, this isn't for me, but I can see why other people love this.
Exactly.
And like, I'm not saying it's not good, but I don't particularly like it.
That's how I
But you
look at
can't say it
music.
sucks.
That in and of itself is a universal truth, right?
Yeah.
Where McDonald's has sold more burgers than any other chain ever. Does that mean McDonald's has the best burger?
No.
No.
But the hole in the wall shop in town does, though.
Exactly. But the hole in the wall shop spends more time curating the thing, and they take risks. And, you know, it's like you go to Lucky 13 and you can get the peanut butter burger, and everyone looks at you like, why are you buying who puts fucking peanut butter on a burger? You know, like, that's weird. Like, just put cheese on it.
And,
But
You know?
more people talk about that than McDonald's.
Exactly.
Yeah.
and most importantly,
Pulp
with
Fiction.
the hole in the wall thing, it's authentic. It's their recipe.
Yes.
It's one of a
their
kind.
thing.
You can
You're
only
not
get it
gonna-
there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And
McDonald's are everywhere.
Right.
Yeah,
and if that's what
exactly.
you're trying to do, then do that. You know? But if you want to be McDonald's, great, be McDonald's.
Yeah.
That's fine. You know?
You can be the McDonald's, or you can be the fucking Burley Burgers in Ogden, Utah.
Welcome to You Guys
Riches.
Shred.
Fucking shout out to Riches, bro. They'll put a fucking steak right on that bitch. Insane.
Welcome to You Guys Shred, where four white males talk about food. Just burger analogy after burger analogy.
Where Americans talk about burgers.
Strap in, youngins. We're talking about burgers. This one on what is the diners, drive-ins, and dives. So I guess kind of just to kind of wrap up, what else can we kind of expect this year from Extortionist? So we got the tour coming up from Europe.
Yeah,
Possibly the new music's gonna come out.
So by the time you see this, the European tour will be announced.
Buy a damn tickets.
Yeah. If you're in Europe and watching this, show up.
If you're not, fly over there. Get the tickets. What's your excuse?
Bunch of new music videos, merch always. We're almost ready to be
Get
in full
back
swing
in,
again, so that is what to expect. I'm not good at that part. It's like Hot Ones.
Yeah,
This camera.
yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us.
Yeah. It's been a blast.
Yeah, and thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to You Guys Shred.